Have you ever looked at someone younger than you achieving incredible things and you're just thinking, am I running out of time? And trust me, I've been there myself. Even if I moved 2 years ago from Germany to Nairobi in Kenya when I was 23, I still have these kind of thoughts. And this even when I'm just 25 now. But here's the truth. You are not late and your journey is your own journey and you're never running late because the perfect time to do what you want to do is always now. In this video today, I want to share with you why I think that it's never too late to pursue your own dreams, to start your own business, to move to a different continent, and what I've learned along my personal way, what might help you as well to just start making changes in your personal life and stop thinking that you are late. So personally, the feeling of being late and being behind every now and then occurs for myself as well. I feel it sometimes when I look at myself and think, I don't have the amount of money that I planned to make in this age. I didn't achieve the goals I had planned out for myself when I was much younger. But what I see now is that there are like quite a few things I know now that I didn't know when I was 18, 19 or 20 years old. And one of these things is that I need to focus on my journey and the growth more than on the goals I actually had for myself. Because when I was younger, I thought like I want to make a certain amount of money at this age now. I want to be a certain kind of person at this age now. But I forgot to focus on the journey itself. So I was just thinking about the numbers. I was just thinking about goals that are actually not that important. Because if there's one thing now that I understand what I didn't know when I was younger, is that the money will come when you put the energy into your personal growth. But even when understanding this, I still have this doubt sometimes. I even had a couple of weeks back when I looked at my own journey, I was like, I made a lot of progress already. I came a long way. I learned a lot of things. I met a lot of people. But why am I still not as successful as I planned to be? But what I did to understand myself better and like to get an opinion from someone else is just that I met a person who was older than me, and I started approaching the person. I was like, hey, can I ask you an honest and open question? And I just explained to him the situation where I'm in, what I think, what I felt like in this moment. And the advice he gave me is just that I have a lot of time. He told me he has the advantage of knowledge because he lived already a much longer time and he has much more experience than me. But he told me that I have the advantage of the time. But even then, you always can start something new. You always can pursue something new. Even in his age, I think he was around like 50 something, 55, if I remember correctly. And he just started a new venture. Even when he was successful with the things he was doing before, he started his new venture and opened up his restaurant just out of passion, not because he needed it, just because he has passion in doing these things. And that's when I understood that you can always start something new. So I started researching as well different cases, and I found the case of Jack Ma. And I saw a couple of other founders who started a business quite late and went for the things they actually want also quite late, maybe in their 40s, in their 50s, maybe even in the 60s, some of them, and they still managed to build something successful. So what all these stories taught me is simply it's never too late to go after your own dreams. And what I think it is that holds us back from just going for it sometimes and just using the excuse that we are late or like just feeling bad about that people achieved more than we in our age, is just that we are scared of taking finally action. But the problem with this is that taking action is the most important step. Even if you are in your 50s, you want to start your own business, thinking about it the whole time and just finding problems with like starting it or finding problems with whatever you have in your head, like all these doubts you have, they would just push you further away from actually doing it. And if there's another thing I realized, if you just take the first step of action, you will see how things change and you will see how your own perspective can change just by taking the first step of action. If you start researching what you want to do, if you start to understand how you can make it possible, the more you go into this, the more you will see how you can actually achieve it and that it's possible for you. And this, no matter what age you are in. In today's time with social media and like hearing all these stories of like the young founders who made a lot of money, who are living the life of their dreams. But these cases are really just a small amount of people who are successful. What I mentioned before is that most people actually start a successful business as well when they're in their 40s. And I even, just to give you another personal story I experienced, I had a phone call a couple of days back with a guy. He's like 52, if I remember correctly. He's now living in Germany. He's doing his job and like working on a small business in Germany as well. And now he wants to pursue his own dream and like taking a leap of faith and move to Kenya as well. He told me he wants to start over with life. He wants to get something more challenging for him and like take another challenge on because life just got too boring for him. And I think this is very admirable to be in this age and like to still go for these things. But this is not the only case. I met another guy a couple of weeks back, and he also had his business for the last 25 years, if I remember correctly. And he told me that he is here in Nairobi to meet up with some guys from Netflix, to find some actors, to finally bring out his own series. And he was also in a similar age in the other person. He was also in his 50s, mid 50s. And if I look at all these cases in there, I can tell you about a bunch of more of these cases. If I look at all of them, it just reminds me sometimes that even if they are still ready to take on something new, that I am simply not late, and you are neither as well. If I can give you another example, it's simply my dad. He was also having his restaurant business for over 20 years, and when he was close to getting 50 years old, he ventured into a new business, and now he's flourishing even much more than the other one. And when I asked him, is it not difficult for you to venture into something new even if you have so much experience with the restaurant business? And he told me, of course it's difficult, but the thing is, he's still hungry to learn, he's still hungry to grow and to make the most out of the business he's in right now. And that the first time starting the other business for him was also not much easier for him, because you also have to learn everything from scratch. You have to give it all your energy. And even he's doing this now with having like 3 kids, with having a lot of different life experiences, with having a family, with having many, many more responsibilities than I do, for example, or like than many of us do, or like some of you guys also have all these responsibilities. But he still ventured into something new and he made it work. And he's even living a better life now than with the other business before he was spending over 20 years in. So after observing all these stories, after talking to my dad a bit more about it to understand his perspective and his point of view, I understood that it's never too late for you. All of this is simply to say that you are not late. If you're thinking of starting a business for the past couple of months or years, if you're thinking of switching your careers, if you're thinking of moving to whatever country in the world you want to move in, and the more you think about it, the later it will get, and these thoughts will never change until you actually take the first step of action. And then please share with me in the comments, what is one dream you've been holding back on because you thought it's too late or it's not the right timing yet? I would love to know what it is, and I hope that we can solve this as a community and we can just push each other to fulfill our dreams finally, and this in whatever age we are in. Thank you so much for watching. I see you in the next video.